A brash young man brings a group of tattooed individuals to collect a debt, hoping to take over a museum, but is struck by love at first sight for a naive yet beautiful girl. What will happen between them? Can the hero overcome the beauty's test? Seeing Dali working so hard that she forgets to eat and sleep, one might think she's being exploited. The fluffy-haired director tells her to attend an exhibition party. The hairy chef talks about pork bone dishes. He says eating pork soup feels like fighting a bull under the Spanish sun. Fried rice with salted fish roe is a Russian specialty. These dishes cost up to $180. Muhek stands up angrily, criticizing that ordinary dishes are being replaced with pricier ingredients and sold at exorbitant prices. With a loving tone, Muhek's father calls out, "You rascal, come here for work." Muhek lends money to the Cheongsong Museum as a gesture of goodwill, and in return, they give him a porcelain vase. He brings the vase to settle the score with a problematic individual. After a Tom and Jerry chase, while his father is distracted, Muhek runs away, leaving his Cinderella shoe stuck at the door. Because Muhek's family gained wealth through selling pork bone soup, they're not respected among the rich, who often invest in art museums to expand their business networks. Wanting to step into high society, Muhek follows his brother Kichil's advice to find a place among the wealthy by lending money. The museum they lend to belongs to Dali's father, who seems to have a secret. While waiting to pick up someone at the airport, Muhek sees a girl holding a sign with Mr. Jin written on it. Mistaking it for his pickup, they leave together, leaving the real Mr. Jin behind. Dali hears Muhek complaining that business class tickets offer nothing special, suggesting that a spicy pork bone soup would be better. Although Dali finds Muhek's words a bit strange, she thinks it's the quirky character of the wealthy. Arriving at the venue, Muhek, surprised at his cartoon slippers, confidently enters the party. Everyone mistakes him for Mr. Jin, a famous Japanese collector, and warmly welcomes him. Asked to comment on a painting, Muhek's clueless art remarks, luckily translated by Dali's knowledge, impress the audience. Pointing at a painting of pigs, he comments on a lazy pig, saying it has ileates and concludes it will sell salt soon to avoid affecting others. While translating, Dali feels embarrassed. An exhibition attendee notes the painting's high realism, unaware that Muhek's spontaneous commentary, not the painting, is the real highlight. Seeing Dali admiring a Modigliani painting, Muhek approaches and asks about the painting's price. Learning it's valued at $120, Muhek chokes on a cherry. As he spits it out, the cherry unexpectedly lands on the eye of Jenny in the painting. Witnessing the artwork getting ruined, Mrs. Horst swears profusely and Muhek is horrified to realize he's just damaged a valuable piece. To remedy the situation, Dali reveals it's merely a replica painted by someone else. Her sharp remarks embarrass Mrs. Horst, who had bought the painting illegally to flaunt her status. Both are thrown out, and Dali regrets losing a potential patron due to the mishap. Muhek consoles her, saying, "Since you helped, the Dondon Food Company will support you." A misunderstanding is discovered. They can't reach Mr. Jin. The two argue and blame each other in the car. At the airport, they find no one. Seeing Dali blame herself, Muhek comforts her, making her smile. Holding Dali's hand, he asks, 1, 2, 3, 5, "Did I miss any beat?" Dali takes Muhek to a hotel, but his black card is declined as his father has blocked all his cards. Muhek tries to appear fine, but deep down, he's devastated. He tells Dali to go home and bids her farewell, but she notices his discomfort. Gichiel visits Dali's father to reclaim an investment, as her father discovers something and is furious. The conversation halts as they hear loud voices through a door gap. Gichiel sees something alarming, covering his mouth in shock. Dali brings Muhek to her luxurious home, which he mistakes for a borrowed place, but she laughs without explaining. Muhek warns her against bringing strangers home for safety reasons. Unaware of his language barrier and penniless state, he questions her indifference. Dali tells him a simple thank you is enough when helped by others. Seeing Dali's hungry stomach, Muhek cooks dinner in gratitude. Being a food company director, cooking isn't hard for him. He confiscates her laptop, reminding her to eat 3 meals a day for good health. Dali tries the food and is amazed, praising, "It's really delicious." Muhek shares his love for paintings, mentioning a painting at home he admires day and night, which Dali doesn't realize is an oversized currency painting. Embarrassed, Muhek changes the topic, and they enjoy dinner together. After a hearty meal, they go to their rooms. While Muhek was taking a bath, the power went out, and at the same time Dali was changing her clothes. Unable to see, Dali was walking when Muhak rushed out and tripped over the vacuum cleaner. When the lights miraculously return, they find themselves in an awkward situation, looking at each other. After the awkward situation, both return to their rooms. The next day, Dali conveys Mrs. Horse thanks for preventing her from buying a fake painting. Mr. Jin had a pleasant time at the farm where Muhak was needed. All troubles are resolved. In the hotel lobby, they awkwardly say goodbye. Muhak, wanting to see Dali again, gives her a precious watch he cherishes, forgetting to ask for a way to contact Dali. Muhak hurries back, only to see her crying and rushing off in a car. Muhak searches for Dali everywhere in the Netherlands. Secretary Ye tells him it's impossible to find a woman in such a large country based solely on her name. Considering Muhak's view of money, giving Dali $1 million watch means he's either enchanted or deceived. After reflecting, he vows to find Dali and seek revenge, believing she tricked him. When Dali hears of her father's death, she returns to South Korea. Her father was a kind man who helped many, including one Tak, an orphan child who became a police officer and considered him a father. Many people attend the funeral to mourn. Taking advantage of the difficult situation, some propose auctioning Dali's family museum. Meanwhile, Jang Tae-jin, the director of CG Corporation and Dali's ex-fiancé, discreetly supports her. Muhak's brother reflects on what he's witnessed. Hearing their father's doubts about the gallery investment, he avoids the topic. Searching for Dali makes Muhak ill, even willing to pay 10 times more for a private investigator. Secretary Yeo isn't sure if Muhak is looking for the watch or the girl. Dali discovers her father's debts, leaving only their mansion, which might be mortgaged, and a nearly bankrupt gallery. Muhak and Dali unknowingly cross paths multiple times. Dali, preoccupied with worries, doesn't notice, while Muhak thinks he's just imagining things. Dali visits one Tak, coincidentally Muhak's tenant. Muhak demands overdue rent, but one Tak prevents him from meeting Dali, avoiding another encounter. Leaving Won Tak's place, Dali visits the Cheongsong Gallery alone, overwhelmed by memories of her father. Muhak learns of the Cheongsong Gallery director's death, news that also reaches his father. To confront his father's anger, Muhak boldly promises to recover the investment from the heir, but he's internally shaken. Secretary Yeo informs him about Cheongsong's only daughter, comparing her to a prized Iberian pork for her achievements. But Muhak, lacking expertise, sees her as just an ordinary, naive girl. Dali tries to reopen the gallery, reviving her father's last pride. She learns that Muhak, with Secretary Yeo and a tough group, storms into the museum demanding money. Not satisfied, they start a sit-in protest. Approaching Muhak, a familiar face and voice say, "Mr. Jin." Muhak panics, covers his face, and denies any connection. Reunited in a situation that couldn't be more fated. To reduce suspicion, Muhak turns the tables, emphasizing that he is the creditor and Dali is the debtor. In the face of money, he shows no sentimentality, scolding and threatening rudely, demanding repayment. Dali, not one to be easily intimidated, forces his group of more than 15 people to buy museum tickets, offering a discount for the large purchase. Seeing the stack of tickets he bought, Secretary Yeo suggests Muhak could easily reclaim the money from Jang Tae-jin, the CG Corporation director and Dali's ex-bridegroom, whom her family had withdrawn from for some reason. Hearing from Secretary Yeo that he took care of Dali's father's funeral and still loves Dali, Muhak shows his irritation, startling everyone in the car. Dali discovers a contract between her father and Dondon worth 2 billion won, used to fund an exhibition called Basquiat. Knowing her father's efforts, Dali decides to continue operating the museum as its director. Meanwhile, her cousin is plotting something and images of Muhak's debt collection and the museum's financial crisis spread across social media. Chek-hee, who once tried to date Muhak unsuccessfully, insists he joins her for lunch due to her bad mood. Coincidentally, Chek-hee also works in a gallery and, knowing about Cheongsong from the internet, discusses the potential damages and closure risks for a famous painting museum. Hearing this, Muhak feels a bit guilty and worried. Rumors spread widely, leading to a surge of attention for the Cheongsong Museum. On her way home, Dali unexpectedly encounters Muhak, slips, and breaks her shoe heel. Muhak catches her, resulting in both tumbling over each other again. Concerned for Dali, he goes to find her but pretends to worry about his debtor escaping. Muhak gives her a pair of cartoon Crocs and takes her to a shopping center, following her around even when she tries to shake him off. When Dali spots Tae-jin, She uses Muhak to avoid him. At an upscale store, Muhak boasts about being a diamond-class regular customer. However, the staff only recognizes Dali, leaving Muhak wanting to find a hole to crawl into. Unable to pay for her shoes, Dali is saved when Taejin appears like a genie, instructing the staff to add clothes and a handbag to the purchase, but Dali stops him. In the awkward situation, Dali signals Muhak to pay, but he presents a voucher from another store, causing further embarrassment for Dali. Taejin seeks a private word with Dali, but she refuses and leaves with Muhak on her arm. Dali doesn't want to trouble Muhak further, and says goodbye. She recalls begging Taejin not to cancel their wedding 5 years ago, willing to agree to any condition to make him reconsider, but he made a demand that forced her to let go. Taejin also intends to win her back. Dali receives a call about a temporary asset seizure, locking her payment cards and possibly leading to her eviction from the mansion. She sits down, overwhelmed by memories in the house, and cries silently. Muhak returns home and runs into Won-tak, who suspects Muhak's activities after seeing him with a questionable group. Won-tak warns him to confess before getting caught, but Muhak threatens to raise the rent and evict Won-tak if he brings home the woman from the other night again. Secretary Yeo rallies the boisterous group to continue their debt collection, motivated by Won-tak's threatening look. Yeo urges haste to reclaim the money before others because of Cheong-song's asset seizure. Muhak realizes why Dali couldn't pay for her shoes and awkwardly visits Cheong-song, driven by the fervor of his kindergarten gang. The museum staff recognizes the troublesome group and considers calling the police, but Dali stops them, warmly welcoming them as guests despite their lack of expertise. Dali meets Muhak privately, repays him for the shoes and asks for more time to settle her debt. Then, another group arrives to cause trouble, acting on rumors despite no payment deadline. When someone was aggressive towards Dali, Muhak carefully tore off his shirt, revealing the fake tattoo he used to threaten when collecting debt, making everyone flinch. Angry about his ruined expensive outfit, Muhak declares himself the new museum director and vows to settle all debts, shocking Secretary Yeo, Dali, and everyone else at the museum. After declaring he would pay off all the debts, Dali's assistant presents him with the actual amount, exceeding 120 million won. Dali argues he has no right to do so, but Muhak reminds her she agreed to accept any terms for repaying the debt. He's confident in his ability to make money, but Dali objects, stating the gallery isn't meant for profit-making and rejects his proposal. Dali overhears negative remarks from museum staff, suggesting she should seek Taejin's help and doubting her capability to inherit the position. Si-hyung, Dali's cousin, gets into a fight in a bar and is taken to the police station. He criticizes Dali for returning to South Korea to manage the gallery. Muhak instructs Secretary Yeo to consolidate and settle the gallery's debts, seeking potential clients to help the museum recover and repay him. His father lashes out at him, questioning if he's trying to be Mother Teresa or Monk Bopjung, spending money without earning any in return. Ki Cheol and his mother are plotting something else. Hearing his father's opinion that Dali lacks business acumen, making the museum's land a target for many, Muhak also grows concerned. Muhak interrupts a meeting in Dali's office, drawing shocked and disdainful stares as he obviously cleans a yogurt lid. Lacking professional knowledge, his strange questions interrupted the meeting. Upon learning the museum plans an art camp, a non-profit educational event for underprivileged children, Muhak vehemently objects and asks if Dali thinks she's Mother Teresa or Monk Bopjung. Despite its traditional value, Muhak criticizes her financial responsibility, given her current debt-ridden situation. Faced with Muhak's impetuous behavior, Dali promises to find an investor. He loudly blames her for using others' money for self-gratification. Dali vows to repay his debt within a week, or she'll do anything he wants. Dali attempts to sell her artworks, but receives offers of only a third of their value. She reaches out to people her father helped, but her pleas remain unanswered. In the office, Secretary Yeo brings up the watch thief, unable to believe that Muhak has forgotten about his mission to find his extremely valuable watch. Yeo even suggests involving Interpol to catch and interrogate the thief, but Muhak strongly objects and calls her too heartless, to her utter surprise. Frustrated with the attitude of the gallery cafe staff, Muhak receives a message from Chek-hee, who is vainly boasting about her beauty. The challenging search for an investor leads Dali to consider Taejin. Despite her lack of courage to speak up, Taejin subtly suggests she should remember to turn to him if she needs help. Unaware of a stranger in her home, Dali texts her deceased father, still struggling to accept his loss. As she moves out, she's given a bag of paintings. At a familiar second-hand shop, Muhak spots Dali selling jewelry and follows her to a bar. There, she opens a bag filled with candies her father used to reward her with and starts crying. Muhak enters and seeing her cry, listens as she claims she's just trying to protect her eyes from the tears, and he agrees. Noticing Dali's luggage, Muhak inquires about it. She explains she sold her house and will stay at a hotel temporarily, puzzling him as she has no money for that. When Dali cries louder, attracting attention, Muhak awkwardly explains she's just protecting her eyes. A drunk Dali discusses the gallery sale with Muhak, accusing him of greediness, as the gallery represents her father, whom she cannot sell. She confronts Muhak, calling him a money grubber ignorant of Da Vinci, then gently strokes his hair and teases him for being a handsome, greedy man and deeming it sinful to let a girl drink. Dali asks if he can protect the gallery, but Muhak responds, "No, not without my help," sharing a laugh. Muhak takes her to a hotel, but while he's away, Dali cancels the room and leaves. Later, Dali sleeps in the museum, unaware of an intruder searching the premises. Spotting Dali asleep, the stranger with knife in hand stealthily approaches her. As danger looms over Dali, she hears Muhak calling. Unaware of her lie-about selling the house, she follows him to the hotel again and leaves the bag of paintings behind. Muhak insists Dali save his number and gives her a hangover remedy he bought from the supermarket. To ensure her safety, he accompanies her to her hotel room door before leaving, but due to the museum staff's salaries, she can't afford to stay in such an expensive place and checks out again. Dali opts for a modest lodging, paying with $90 she has on her, but catching the receptionist eye with her envelope full of cash. Upstairs, she encountered a couple having an intimate activity that stunned her. Muhak nervously calls Dali, suggesting that she enjoys the rainy night view from the hotel, unaware she's in a rundown motel. During the night, an intruder steals her money. When captured, he attacked Dali, knocking her unconscious before fleeing. One Tak learns about Cheongsong's situation, visits Dali's sealed home, and then rushes to the hospital upon receiving a call. Seeing Dali bruised after the fight, he was extremely disappointed that she did not call him for help and ended up in such a state. Dali is seeking shelter and asks to stay with Wan Tak, who takes her to the museum. To hide her injuries, she wears sunglasses so she can't see Muhak's nonsensical business plan, proposing toilet paper-only cost-saving measures. Dali is checking for traces when Muhak interrupts, interrogating her like a criminal. Check, he remembered seeing Muhak and Dali at the hotel, so she confronted him about their relationship and confessed her feelings. But he didn't care and warned her against seeing him with another woman. Dali's struggle for support continues. With no hope in sight, she announces the delayed staff salaries, but employees are unsympathetic, noting her designer clothes and new shoes despite her explanations. Ki Cheol plots with his father to sell the gallery for An Sang Tae's project while holding a secret about Dali's father's death. Si Hyung blackmails Gongju about her past, demanding she continue searching for Dali's father's seal and documents. One Tak arranges a place for Dali, who jokes about informing the handsome but crazy-eyed landlord of referring to Muhak. Tae-jin investigates Muhak, learning of his disruptive visit to the museum. Dali gets a police call about the theft, realizing Wan Tak's intervention, not the thief's capture. The gallery's scandals resurface, causing Dali to harsh criticism. Muhak confronts her about risking himself for money, but she objects, claiming that his concerns are also financially motivated. Meanwhile, Tae-jin overhears their heated argument from outside. Muhak looks at Dali and sternly says, "Until you've paid off all your debts to me, you're not allowed to get hurt, or I won't stand by idly." Dali organizes a press conference, leveraging the media's curiosity about her personal life to promote the upcoming exhibition. She collaborates with Tae-jin's company for custom jewelry designs. Dali confidently answers reporters' questions, exposing rumors about her. The press conference generates positive buzz. Dali has become a trending search term on social media, with everything from jewelry to clothing attracting attention. Muhak suspects someone is scheming to bring down Cheongsong. An illicit business relationship is forming between Ki Cheol and Mr. Sang Tae, but Si Hyung is also involved. Meanwhile, Muhak worries about Dali, unaware that she's enjoying a lavish meal upstairs at Dondon's, finishing 3 servings of bone broth soup. Stressed and wanting to inquire about Dali, Muhak mistakenly sends a text saying "I like you" instead of asking if she likes sushi. He tries to explain the mix-up, but Dali doesn't respond. Impatient, he calls her but only to hear the neighbor's phone ringing above. Actually, the director's staging. After a restless night waiting for a message, Mook arrives early at the museum to work, mistaking a pile of recycled art for trash. Dali finds Mook sleeping on the sofa and tries to cover him with his coat, but he grabs her hand and asks why she hasn't responded to his text, leading to a confusing romantic moment. When informed that the recycled art pieces are missing, Mook scolds the museum staff for their lack of professionalism. However, the security footage reveals that he mistook the art for trash and thought that even a toilet paper roll or a bone broth cube could be an artwork, earning him a sarcastic 10 points. An artist overheard his comment and stormed out angrily. Dali's life becomes a mess, and she isn't sure if Mook is helping or hindering her. Upon learning her contract with the gallery has been terminated, he confronts Tae-jin, implying that Dali has shown interest in him and urging him to pursue her so that she won't have to worry about Dali and Mook. Mook takes Dali to the police station after catching the thief, who insults Dali and receives a kick from Mook. The thief taunts further, saying he should have killed her, provoking Mook to almost physically retaliate until Dali intervenes with a tight embrace. After being embraced by Dali, Mook calms down and lets go. Dali vehemently denounces the thief's crimes, her words potent enough to potentially keep him from seeing daylight again. However, when she learned that the thief squandered her money at a casino, Dali intended to teach him a lesson, but one tack, and Mook stopped her. That's the bitter end of provoking women. Knowing that Mook is the landlord, Dali tries to silence one tack and convince him not to reveal that they are living together, and promises to remind one tack to be a considerate tenant. Tae-jin sees Mook as a thorn in his side and a greedy lowlife who exploits Dali for money and wishes to meet him. After insulting a crucial artist for the exhibition, Mook humbly apologizes on his knees. Learning the artist decided to assist Dali again, Mook is internally agonized, having spent $100,000 to redeem a piece of trash. Even a worn shoe from the artist is treasured by Mook as if it's gold. Preparations for the exhibition were in full swing, so initially no guests arrived. Soon, Tae-jin appeared in a luxury car, followed by many famous people. Arriving late, Mook and his family attend, hoping to network. Dali is visibly annoyed seeing Mook close to Cheki, while Mook feels uneasy watching Dali and Tae-jin together. Tae-jin meets with Mook to offer to repay Dali's debt, while also highlighting their social and educational disparities. Mook refused, using the excuse of being busy leaving first and affirming that he would not accept money from Tae-jin because he suspected he had ulterior motives. During the exhibition, Dali explains about the artwork, while Mook is found inside the coffin, causing his stepmother to scream and attract everyone's attention. Dali explains this is just part of the exhibition, encouraging visitors to experience it for themselves. She asks Mook to stay in the coffin, but he is visibly upset and feeling overlooked. After the exhibition, Dali hears snoring and finds Mook asleep inside the cozy coffin. Waking him results in a head bump, spinning them both. Mook, feeling a bump forming, jokes about potential blood loss and feigns hurt feelings, saying, "You asked me to lie in the coffin, then forgot about me." Dali checked his wound, praised his efforts, then came closer and kissed him. After Dali's impulsive kiss, they both feel awkward, shifting their conversation from the moon to streetlights, illustrating how love can disrupt normalcy. On their way back, Mook attempts another kiss, but Dali loudly refuses. Dali was confused about his actions, wondering if it was due to hormones or just a bad day. Meanwhile, Mook doesn't even brush his teeth. After the exhibition, the gallery is bustling, Mook and Dali facing each other awkwardly, causing even Secretary Yeo to feel uncomfortable with their evident tension. In a meeting, Mook is overly sensitive to any mention or sound resembling kiss, leading to an uncomfortable situation with Yeo. Feeling uneasy, Dali suggests that Mook should consider her kiss a moment of exhaustion. However, Mook believes that at their age, kissing isn't a mistake, and urges her to reconsider her feelings. Tae-jin has someone monitor Dali, discovering she's staying with one tack and that Mook is their landlord. When Tae-jin arrives to confront the situation, Dali impulsively joins him in his car. Tae-jin takes Dali to a house they once planned to live in together, suggesting they start anew there. However, Dali knows some broken things can't be mended easily. Mook's father hints at marriage during a family dinner, advising Mook to choose someone he loves rather than someone who loves him. Meanwhile, Ki-chil is closely involved with the gallery, causing Mook to investigate the land where it is located. Dali confronts Muhak about hiring PR celebrities, influencers, and YouTubers to promote the gallery. Muhak explains it's a standard business strategy. Even street vendors use tactics to attract children. Despite understanding his point, Dali struggles to accept prioritizing profit over integrity. Yet, she's touched when Muhak says he did it all to see her smile. Si-hyung faces threats from gangsters wanting to extort the gallery's cafe, but Dali regains control. She discovers something significant in a bag of her father's paintings amidst Si-hyung's chaos. Returning home to find it disheveled, Dali gets a warning from Won-tak to lock her doors as he won't be home. After a fall, thinking there's an intruder, she's surprised to find Muhak instead. The person pressing Dali against the wall is Jin Muhak. He came to check after hearing a scream from Won-tak's room and encountered Dali disguised as a ninja. Discovering the door broken and the room in disarray, Muhak is attacked by Dali, mistaking him for an intruder. Though they called the police, nothing was stolen and both felt embarrassed amidst the scattered lingerie. Concerned for Dali's safety, Muhak invites her for dinner and to stay over at his place. The intruder turns out to be Gong-ju, searching for something resembling a stamp. She tells Si-hyung she'll no longer assist him and threatens to call the police if he persists. Dali is shocked to learn that a valuable painting Muhak mentioned is just an enlarged 50,000 won note, and her father's gifted porcelain vase is being used as a soy sauce container. Muhak promises a simple dinner, but it turns out to be an extravagant buffet. Knowing Dali is staying with Won-tak, Muhak is worried, but Dali thinks he's concerned about the utility bills. She chooses to sleep in the living room, thinking Muhak prefers it for late-night TV watching. Though only knowledgeable in theory, Dali insists on washing the dishes, creating a bubbly mess. When they're about to share a romantic moment, Won-tak interrupts with a phone call. Dali had a nightmare, so the two talked all night. She rejects his feelings, citing unresolved hurt, so they agree to revert to a friendly debtor-creditor relationship. Won-tak is suspicious when he sees Dali leaving Muhak's house. Muhak jokes about being a good luck charm but then self-critiques for not fixing the door, suspecting the burglary might be related to a grudge against Won-tak. Dali finds an earring and perfume scent linking Gong-ju to the intrusion at her home and the gallery. She learns Gong-ju was hired by her father without formal recruitment, and Sang-tae proposes a lawsuit against Dali to Muhak's father, pressuring her to sell the gallery. The gallery's non-profit camping event, sponsored by Dondon F and NCG, goes on. Tae-jin, jealous of Muhak and Dali's closeness, tries to stay near Dali but faces cold rejection. He overhears Muhak confessing his feelings for Dali and confronts him in tears. Muhak comforts her, but Dali witnesses the scene feeling lost and nearly gets hit by a car. Dali accepts a dinner invitation from Tae-jin, thinking it's about sponsorship. However, Tae-jin takes her to Dondon, where Muhak's staff spots them. Tae-jin hints that Dondon is involved in purchasing land around the gallery, questioning Muhak's intentions toward Dali. At that moment, Muhak brought food, causing the three of them to fall into an awkward situation. Hearing that Dali is with Tae-jin, Muhak brings fried rice from his restaurant to serve them despite Tae-jin's insults about his humble background and food. Muhak firmly retorts, advising Tae-jin to stop following his ex-girlfriend around, nearly getting punched for his blunt words. When Tae-jin steps out to take a call, he sees Muhak angrily kicking one of his shoes away. Dali is torn between trusting Muhak or not. Eternity calls, but an angry Muhak ignores it, visibly passing by her. Dali waits outside Muhak's house, apologizing and making excuses for Tae-jin, making Muhak angry. He suggests she can immediately repay her debt by borrowing from Tae-jin or worse, provoking Dali to slap him. He warns her to stop unless she wants him to lose control, leading to an intense moment where he pins her against the wall and kisses her, asking if this is another mistake. Dali shakes her head, and they share a moment meant for mature audiences only. Upon returning home, Muhak creates a disturbance after discovering his father and brother are involved in a corrupt construction project. He shares his suspicions about a cunning mastermind orchestrating the gallery's closure to facilitate the project. With Sang-tae just being a pawn, Dali discovers drugs hidden in the painting bag, linking it to Si-hyung and Gong-ju, who have vanished. Seeing Dali soaking in the rain outside the company, Muhak rushes out to embrace her, creating a romantic scene that even Secretary Yeo finds moving, leaving Tae-jin for Muhak. Muhak humorously imagines Dali came looking for him out of longing, making both of them laugh. Dali sees the soy sauce pot with the life and death artwork displayed in Muhak's office and can't help but laugh too. Yu sends Dali evidence against Commissioner Sang-tae, hoping she won't hurt Muhak. Dali writes a report on Sang-tae's illicit real estate activities over 7 years, which is leaked to the media while Sang-tae plans his next move with a familiar face. Meanwhile, Dali and Muhak celebrate with fancy wine and spicy instant noodles. Knowing one tack is away, Muhak excitedly suggests Dali sleep over, promising only to hug, not do anything else. Dali raises the stakes, saying she won't come over if nothing happens. Muhak rushes home to prepare, but as he eagerly opens the door expecting Dali, he's met by Chek-hee, with Dali arriving just in time to witness the scene. Chek-hee, astonished, asks, "Are you two living together?" Chek-hee storms into Muhak's house wanting to stay for a few days, prompting visible jealousy from Dali. With the house filled with candles and roses, Chek-hee questions if it's a special day for Muhak, who exchanges embarrassed glances with Dali. Unable to make Chek-hee leave, Muhak is the one who gets kicked out, so he has to sleep next to Won-tak and use toilet paper as a pillow while the two women inside fight over for a blanket scented with Muhak's smell. Dali overheard Chek-hee sobbing, knowing that the wound on her face was caused by her father beating her in anger, not because of an argument about grapefruit, as she said. Driven to desperation, Si-hyung is coerced by Sang-tae into executing a nefarious plan. A confrontation ensues when Ki-chil confronts Muhak, who denies revealing information to Dali. Secretary Yeo is startled, pinning the blame on Tae-jin, pushing Ki-chil to disclose the mastermind behind their scheme, risking losing everything to his father. Muhak suspects a connection between the legislator and Sang-tae and Jang Tae-jin. News spreads that Dali is the Cheongsong family's adopted daughter, intensifying the inheritance dispute. Dali sells art pieces to cover inheritance taxes as advised by lawyer Cha. Her uncle intervenes, humiliating her with a derogatory song about her father, begging Tae-jin for Dali's sake, urging her to relinquish her inheritance rights. Tae-jin orders Sang-tae to halt their scheme upon reading the news about Dali, instructing the removal of all related news articles, and vowed to rectify his past mistakes with Dali. Years ago, Tae-jin called off the wedding upon discovering Dali was adopted. Despite her pleas, he coldly suggested reconsidering only if she could become Cheongsong's biological daughter. Journalists swarmed the gallery, with Won-tak also searching for Dali, whose whereabouts remain unknown. Meanwhile, Dali visits her father's grave and reminisces about her childhood when she was adopted by Mr. Kim. After a meeting, Muhak learns of the unfolding scandal involving Dali. He heads to the gallery, unable to reach her by phone. Dali tries to avoid him. They encounter each other at his apartment. Muhak, thinking Dali's avoidance is due to his incident with Chek-hee, explains he sees Chek-hee as a sister. Dali, surprised, inquires about her being adopted. Muhak reflects on how family love isn't determined by blood, sharing his father's neglect for his dying wife and young child for another woman. Comforted by Muhak, Dali breaks down in tears, all witnessed by Tae-jin, who then instructs on the phone, "Let everything proceed as planned." Seeing the romantic scene between Dali and Muhak, Tae-jin, annoyed, begins to hatch a plan. Muhak argues with Dali's manager, and later, in Dali's room, he apologetically crosses his arms, receiving a kiss from Dali. As they progress to a more passionate embrace, they're interrupted by a crowd barging in. Moments before, Dali was kissing Muhak, but seconds later, she slapped him repeatedly, making him stunned and confused. After celebrating the exhibition's success, they watch a TV report stating Si-hyung, as a witness, accuses Dali's father of being involved in drug trafficking and using the gallery as a cover-up. Dali confronts Si-hyung with slaps and threats to expel him from the Cheongsong family. Meanwhile, Tae-jin meets with Dali's uncle, and Sang-tae coerces the gallery staff into providing false testimonies. Si-hyung, having changed his appearance completely, along with additional concrete evidence, complicates the investigation. Won-tak entrusted Dali's safety to Muhak while he participated in the investigation. As artists begin to retrieve their works, the police issue a search and seizure warrant for the gallery. Muhak tries to help Chek-hee escape her abusive father, but she refuses and informs him about the gallery's seizure. Unable to contact Dali, Muhak finds her at the gallery, devastated by the chaos, and comforts her with a silent embrace. At the same time, Ki-chil learns that his contract with Sang-tae has been terminated, and his father refuses to let him bear the surname Jin. Ki-chil's mother confronts Dali, slaps and insults her, but Tae-jin accidentally appears and intervenes and comforts Dali. He promises to assist with their father's scandal, positioning himself as her steadfast supporter while secretly managing the underlying turmoil. Dali spots Gongju near the gallery and pleads for her help, but she walks away. Tae-jin confronts Moo-hak, warning him about the stepmother's visit to the gallery and advising him to stay away from Dali. Enraged, Moo-hak confronts his stepmother at home, receiving a slap from his father, marking this episode with numerous slaps. Resentful, Moo-hak declares he will live his life independently from now on. Meanwhile, Tae-jin manipulates Dali's uncle, who begs her to return to Tae-jin to save the Cheongsong gallery. Returning home, Moo-hak and Dali face each other. The situation could have settled down quietly, but two employees from the gallery sought out Won-tak to confess they were bribed. Coincidentally, Gongju also appears, confirming that the incriminating video was staged. Moo-hak and Dali, both anxious, don't dare to call each other yet end up facing one another. Dali coldly dismisses Moo-hak's concern, even though he buys medicine for her wound without the courage to hand it over. Food boy Moo-hak brings breakfast to Dali, but despite his efforts, she still leaves with playboy Tae-jin. Dali questions Tae-jin about his meeting with her uncle, and he, full of regret, pleads for a chance to make everything right, proposing marriage as a solution to regain everything and protect her. Dali decides to transfer the exhibition to another gallery, with the artworks to be auctioned off, even as the employees agree to forego their salaries to share the burden and end the collaboration with Dondon. Seeing Moo-hak skip a meal, Eo takes him out to comfort him and tries to calm his worries, but only makes things worse. Ki-cheol warns Moo-hak not to mess with Tae-jin, making Moo-hak suspicious. News of the wedding ring being purchased by Jang Tae-jin spreads. Moo-hak confronts Dali, questioning if this is the ending she desires. He leaves angrily when Dali mentions selling everything to repay him, frustrated by the irony of a money lover like him rejecting money. Moo-hak's father's attitude towards Ki-cheol changes due to some revealed information. Won-tak informs Moo-hak that Si-hyung is now a suspect and urges him to protect Dali. Meanwhile, Dali falls asleep on a bus, ending up stranded with a dead phone battery. In desperation, she uses the medicine Moo-hak bought to keep warm, and miraculously, Moo-hak finds and embraces her. He confesses his love, and to his surprise, Dali reciprocates, leading to a passionate exchange of feelings. The two persuade an important author of the exhibition, who was visibly anxious about getting Dali's approval, fearing a calcium drop if she declined. Returning home, Dali heads to her room, but Moo-hak catches her hand, leading to a close moment where they study biology, a cue for viewers to look away. Moo-hak makes breakfast for Dali and shares a past encounter with her father, who intended to match his daughter with him. Dali notes that the soy sauce container Moo-hak uses is also a cherished artwork of her father. Hearing Dali call him beloved, Moo-hak is delighted. Si-hyung seeks Tae-jin's help to flee the country. Won-tak confronts Sang-tae and plays a recording when he realizes Sang-tae plans to escape, making the councilman apprehensive. Unable to contact Tae-jin, who starts to retreat and orders to shift blame to Dondon. Love doesn't want normalcy. Moo-hak terrorizes Dali with messages just an hour after meeting her, creating a public spectacle of their affection that gives everyone shocks. Si-hyung is arrested, and his father expects him to take responsibility for his actions. Moo-hak loudly knocks, calling for his darling, but Won-tak answers the door. Won-tak sends Moo-hak away, while Dali announces they're dating, shocking Won-tak and delighting Moo-hak. Dali hands over artworks to check his gallery, acknowledging her talent. Hearing about Tae-jin's proposal to Dali, Chek warns that he's not a good person despite his past cooperation with her father. Moo-hak buys a gift for Dali but then learns Dondon is under police scrutiny. Dali meets Tae-jin, asking him to stop his schemes, but he denies involvement. Meanwhile, a video arrives, and Dali hears her father's voice. In a chaotic turn of events, Ki-cheol's mother reveals that Tae-jin hired her to attack Dali's hair. Overwhelmed, Ki-cheol takes Tae-jin's number from Sang-tae to threaten him with a video he recorded involving Si-hyung and Mr. Kim, featuring Jang Tae-jin's presence. Just as Moo-hak arrives and overhears, Tae-jin angrily destroys his surroundings and orders a thorough investigation of Jin Ki-cheol. Won-tak is suspicious of Si-hyung's last words before his arrest, hinting at a secret involving his child. Similarly, Dali questions her father's voice in a video she heard at Tae-jin's place. Dali meets Gongju at a convenience store, asking her to return to the gallery and prepare for the upcoming exhibition. Moo-hak is comforting Dali when Won-tak spots them. Feeling agitated, he leaves. Dali's unique fried egg dish is rich in vitamin B, magnesium and ground ginseng, challenging the taste of men, but they cannot resist and reluctantly eat it all. The trio shares information they've gathered, suspecting Kichiel holds a secret about Tae-jin, who is also planning to deal with Kichiel. Dali's uncle grants her power of attorney over the family funds, allowing her to take charge of the gallery. Muhak follows Kichiel using a GPS tracker installed by Secretary Yeo, while Won-tak is also in pursuit and trying to rescue Si-hyung from his captors. Dali confronts Si-hyung, who reveals that Sang-tae proposed to her father to sell the gallery but was refused. Si-hyung was coerced into using the gallery for drug trafficking and forced Mr. Kim to sell it. Tae-jin is the mastermind behind everything, and he prevented Si-hyung from aiding Mr. Kim during a heart attack. Dali is devastated upon learning the truth, crying silently. Tae-jin arranges a meeting with Kichiel on a rooftop for a transaction, unaware of the impending danger. The deal goes smoothly, leaving Kichiel unsuspectingly joyful, not realizing his life is in jeopardy. Muhak and Won-tak follow the trail to the same location without a plan. Muhak receives a call from Dali, but sensing something amiss, he detects two individuals tailing Kichiel. Kichiel is attacked, and Muhak intervenes in time, but gets stabbed in the stomach. Won-tak arrives shortly after. Kichiel sees Muhak's blood, screams in horror as the blood saturates the documents. Muhak is rushed into surgery while his parents arrive. Kichiel tearfully admits going to meet Tae-jin, resulting in Muhak losing a lot of blood. Meanwhile, Dali arrives and is barely able to stand. Muhak's father blames himself for treating his son poorly, begging Dali to stay away from Muhak. After surgery, Muhak is moved out of the operating room. Dali holds a gift from Muhak and bursts into tears. Earlier, Kichiel had swapped a USB drive containing incriminating footage of Tae-jin, creating a media stir. Facing the consequences, Tae-jin is cornered. Yeo informs Dali that Muhak has awakened. Dali encounters Tae-jin, who shamelessly declares his love, revealing his motivations were always power and wealth. Despite being unable to sit up, Muhak tries to look presentable. Dali cares more about his wound than the makeup, asking him never to get hurt again. Muhak's father sees them embracing and decides to leave, ashamed by the video Kichiel recorded. 1 year later, Muhak's father wakes him up and has prepared breakfast, having kicked out Kichiel and his mother. Muhak suggests his father should reconnect with them. Chuk-hee, now working at Dali's gallery, celebrates Dali's return with a meal at Dondon. Muhak and Dali reunite, but only exchange glances. Seeing Dali distracted by her phone, Gongju suggests she call Muhak. However, Dali hesitates, and they head home for dinner. Chuk-hee accuses Won-tak of advancing his career at her father's expense, leading to a complex relationship between them. Amidst rumors of Tae-jin's resignation, Chairman Muhak visits Director Dali's meeting room, asking for the watch back. Dali hands it over from her wrist. Curious coworkers learn that Dali went on a business trip, delaying Muhak's vacation and causing tension. However, Muhak's public proposal and their affectionate display at the exhibition show their deep love. The exhibition is a success, and the couple, holding hands, stands happily in front of Dali's painting, their love story and happiness fully blooming, illustrating that love is an invaluable masterpiece, created by contrasting individuals drawn irresistibly to each other. How are your love artworks painted with such emotions?